I'm Joshua Bardwell, and you're going to learn something today if, when you watched my review of the Tyrannus SE, you mistakenly thought that I said that Spektrum doesn't do telemetry. I didn't say that. And many of you, several of you, have been leaving comments saying, Spektrum does have a telemetry. What are you talking about? Look, it's right here. I didn't say that. What I said was that telemetry is not as widespread in the Spektrum ecosystem as it is in the FrSky ecosystem. Among my audience of mini-quad pilots, most of them are flying satellite receivers, Spektrum satellite receivers. If you have a Spektrum radio on a mini-quad and you're not flying a satellite receiver, don't fly a full-size receiver. That's silly. And the satellite receivers don't have telemetry. They don't have VBAT telemetry. Certainly, there is a thing that CleanFlight and Betaflight have done where they will fake RSSI telemetry based on it's a fade or packet loss counter that the satellite puts out. But that's not the same as saying that Spektrum has telemetry. It's a hack. It's a good hack, but it's a hack. If you compare that to FrSky, and by the way, the point of this is not to say, ooh, FrSky is good, Spektrum is bad. No, I'm not getting into like a religious war. Spektrum is great if that's what you like to fly. FrSky is great if that's what you like to fly, but it's not like there aren't some differences between them. And one difference between them is that going all the way back to my multi-wee copter with a flight test electro hub and the half-inch Poplar booms, I had a D8R2 receiver on there, and it had RSSI telemetry right out of the box. The minute you power up your Tyrannus, boom, there it is. You're getting RSSI telemetry. And it had an A2 voltage sensor, so with a little bit of soldering, you could have VBAT telemetry as well. And this is on a fixed wing, on anything, regardless of whether you have a flight controller that's doing, full-fledged telemetry. And going forward, if you look at all the receivers that people have been using, the D4R2, the X4R SB, the XSR, they all do at least RSSI telemetry, and almost all of them do full telemetry, including VBAT, etc. Whereas if you compare that to the Spektrum lineup, there's one Spektrum mini receiver that does telemetry, and it costs like 50 bucks. And then there's three full-size receivers that are like 200 bucks. They're sold in a kit with a bunch of satellites. I can only imagine they're intended for like giant fixed wings with 7 satellite receivers scattered all over the place. And obviously they're just completely inapplicable to my audience. So the vast majority of my audience who are flying Spektrum, I haven't taken a poll, but based on what I see when I'm out flying and when I talk to people, they're flying Spektrum satellites. And those satellites aren't doing telemetry. They're not even doing RSSI telemetry unless you've done the hack with CleanFlight and Betaflight. So that's all I meant when I said that telemetry was not as widespread in the Spektrum ecosystem. Many pilots who are flying Spektrum are flying it without even RSSI telemetry. And essentially all pilots who are flying FrSky are flying it with RSSI telemetry, because in the FrSky one, you don't have to jump through any hoops. It just works almost regardless of what receiver you're using. So please, stop correcting me. I know that Spektrum has telemetry, and for gosh sakes, don't accuse me of being irresponsible. If I make I'm human, okay? Don't put me on a pedestal where you're really irresponsible for giving out this bad information. I do my best. I make mistakes. If I make mistakes, I do my best to correct them. And, you mad, bro? I think some of you are mad, bro, because I don't know, defensive? I don't know. What's going on there? If I make a mistake about that, I don't know. Don't moralize at me. Come on, give me a break. So if I've made any mistakes, I'm sure you'll correct them in the comments. But that's my side of the story, and I'm sticking to it. Happy flying.